First things first, I would like to thank Casually Explained and Tier Zoo for the idea on how to format this video. If you have not yet checked out their channels, please do. Links will be included in the description. And now, to our regularly scheduled program. Of the estimated 108 billion players that have ever logged into this game, very few manage to stand out among the crowd. Whether it be their poor base stats or their inability to level themselves properly as they go along, few players manage to truly master the game. Today though, we will be discussing one player who not only managed to master the game, but take it to a whole new level. There are many notable players that chose the Iron Age expansion of the game, but of these, only few managed to play so masterfully that other players began to question whether they had DLC for the Middle Age or even the coveted early Modern Age expansions before the devs even decided to roll them out at all. This player went by the username Archimedes, and some of his contributions to the game stand, even today, as some of the greatest mechanics to have ever been seen. A lot of key players may have made some incredible and unique contributions to the Iron Age expansion, especially in the Italian server Archimedes favored, but his stand alone as some of the most incredible the game has seen. Archimedes logged in at a time of great unrest in the then popular Italian server. Romans had the most overpowered guild at the time, and for good reason. Their stats and perks were virtually untouchable when compared to others at the time, especially when considering the sheer number of players that chose the guild. Archimedes set his spawn point in Syracuse, a faction that initially allied with the Roman guild but later decided against this due to an embarrassing loss in a boss fight against the Carthage guild, even though the Romans had better stats and equipped every overpowered item in their inventory for the fight. Turns out the Roman guild doesn't take kindly to people leaving their clan, so they decided they would rather grief their former allies as punishment. This is where Archimedes came in. He saw these hundreds of Roman players attempting to raid his spawn, so he did what any reasonable player would do. He maximized his own town's defense stats. Now, that wasn't exactly easy. The Roman guild had a lot of gold at the time, so they could afford to purchase relatively high-level armor and mounts for themselves, and with their sheer numbers, they could simply just go AFK and let their team spam attack the city's defenses until the walls fell. Archimedes didn't quite see it that way, and he decided he'd rather mod the game slightly to give himself some strange crafting recipes no one had seen before, which resulted in 3 unique defense items. First, as some Roman players came closer to Syracuse's walls on a boat mount, Archimedes decided he would like to simply pluck the boat mount from the water altogether and then drop it to the ground, banking on the fall damage to handle most of the players on board. This came in the form of a massive crane that could deal massive damage at range with little Roman players could do to stop it. Secondarily, Archimedes did what any intelligent player would do and looked for a glaring weakness among the Romans, which he found in the form of their mounts themselves. Oddly enough, in the Iron Age expansion, the vast majority of boat mounts were of the grass type, and as such were extremely susceptible to fire. The thing is, there were no common powerful fire-type moves during this expansion, and the Roman guild heavily capitalized on this. Archimedes, knowing this, decided that he wanted Solar Beam to be a fire-type move, so he crafted an item to convert this traditionally grass-type move into a fire-type move. To this day, the validity of this crafting recipe remains under scrutiny, but the fact remains that Archimedes was credited with crafting the item, so I'm including it in his character synopsis. Either way, whether players generally agree Archimedes' item had a legitimate crafting recipe or not, he still had another item hidden away that ignored these objections altogether. Archimedes decided the devs may not particularly agree with him just up and changing Solar Beam to a fire-type move, so he thought, hey, what if I just code my own fire-type move? And with that, Archimedes developed and learned how to use the first documented case of Fire Blast, which came in the form of a steam cannon that pumped hollow clay balls filled with what is essentially napalm into the Roman player mounts. This was incredibly effective, and Archimedes managed to defend his spawn for well over 3 years before the Roman guild finally broke through. The interesting thing about this is that the player leading that particular portion of the Roman guild, who went by the username of Marcellus, decided that Archimedes was too valuable of a player to be killed just for XP, and decided he would much rather try to get him to join the Roman guild. Unfortunately, Archimedes' playthrough was cut short when a Roman player interrupted him in the middle of a crafting session and, after Archimedes insisted he wait until he was done, decided he would rather convert Archimedes to XP than anything else. Shame he didn't invest more points into the intelligence line. So concluded the playthrough of Archimedes. Overall, Archimedes' stats weren't anything spectacular, aside from his overwhelming intelligence, but his crafted items truly made him one of the best players to ever log into the game. If you enjoyed this analysis, please do be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. If you'd like to see more videos like this in the future or have any suggestions for what topics we can tackle next, please feel free to leave a comment below and we'll do our best to do so. As always, thank you for watching the video and we'll hope to see you all next time.